Welcome to the first benefit concert for the Green Olive Collective. I'm Sunita Stanislow.
And I'm Fred Slomka.
And we're here to celebrate humanity during these dark, dark times of war.
My role in the Green Olive Collective is as the co-managing partner together with my colleague Jihan, a Palestinian lady. We run the organization. Now, what is Green Olive? A lot of you know already, but for those of you who don't, we are a 15-year-old organization, Israelis and Palestinians, Arabs and Jews working together to advance democracy in this country, to advance human rights, and to advance equal rights. That's our primary goal, and we do so through educational programs, advocacy, tours, webinars, etc. And now we're doing it through concerts. Thank you all so much for coming. It's so nice to see so many of you.
Truth, understanding, compassion, these are the first victims of war. We'll be highlighting some musicians that are speaking for our humanity, for compassion. Thank you for joining us. I find the harp to be a very healing instrument, and I will be performing for you later in the concert.
We're here to raise money. So all through the concert, you'll see links popping up on your screen. So please, please give generously, give what you can. The first performer is a gentleman called Pete Morton, who is an amazing singer-songwriter from England. We hosted him in Israel and Palestine many years ago, towards the end of the Second Intifada, and he performed all over Israel and Palestine, and he performed a very special song called The Two Brothers. So I give you Pete Morton.
Hello, my name's Pete Morton. I'm going to sing you a song which is called The Two Brothers. I wrote this song at the time of the Second Intifada, about 20 years ago. The song took me over to the very place that I was singing about. I sang the song in folk clubs in Israel, and I began to understand how the simplicity of my song was rejected, how people were hurt and offended, and it was only embraced by a very few. And then I went out to Hebron, saw the way people were living out there, the indignity, the humiliation, living under a curfew, not being able to do the simplest things like go to the shops or go to school. But to this day, I've carried on singing the song. I carry on singing the song because I believe that simplicity eventually must shine through. And we must all understand that there's so much pain on both sides. The only thing that can happen at the end of the day is for us to come together side by side as one country. I don't care who started it, I just want to hear you play. I just want to see you smiling in the glory of the day. Israel, give him his ball back. Stop pulling his hair. Both of you, my sons, I know it isn't fair. I know it isn't fair. I don't care who started it. Just stop all the noise. I can see you're two very over tired little boys. Palestine, I saw you kick him. Israel, sit still. Let us get some peace now, if you will. If you will. I don't care who started it. Must I ask you again? Put aside your anger, all the sorrow and all the pain. Throw away your struggles, clear the mess up from the floor. Don't want to hear you squabbling anymore. I don't care who started it. Just try and get along. Every time I come round here, there's always something wrong. One day in the future, this won't mean a thing. One day in the future, as brothers, you'll sing. I don't care who started it. I just want to hear you play. I just want to see you smiling in the glory of the day.
Thank you, Pete. These words to me are so profound. They are relevant to when you wrote it and to now. And they're always relevant. Hopefully we'll learn not to solve issues by war. You have shown compassion with an open heart to both sides, to all sides, to humanity. And thank you for your big heart.
Everybody loves to take sides, and this particular war that we're having, the sides are entrenching their position. At Green Olive, although we advocate for freedom for Palestinians, for solidarity, for the end to expulsions and all the other horrors of occupation, at the same time, the side that we are on is a side of human rights. It's a side of democracy. It's a side of humanity. And we believe that if those values are within this country, within everybody's hearts, then we'll start moving towards an equitable and just solution for the situation here. I just want to remind you that this is a fundraising concert. So please, all of you, get your credit cards out. You'll see along the screen between songs the website address for you to give. Now, what are you giving for? What is Green Olive going to do with your money? Well, we provide an infrastructure and transportation for solidarity visits to oppressed communities in the West Bank, especially down the South Hebron Hills and the villages there. Some of our partners actually spend nights down there helping protect villagers from the radical settlers, the violent people who live in that area, who are trying to drive out the Palestinians. We run webinars. Many of you have probably attended our webinars over the last few months. We've done more than usual, given the circumstances of what's going on in Gaza. And we have a membership program. We have over 500 members of the Green Olive Collective. So we provide programs, advice, information to our membership to help with advocacy projects in different countries around the world. And so I do encourage you to give what you can. Rest assured your money will be put to very good use.
Now I'll hand it over to Wissam Gibran. He is a poet, a musician, composer, teacher, and just such a fine human being and friend. Wissam.
In times of war, we all feel helpless. The inability to do anything stops the madness, destruction, and killing. Perhaps through music we can spread some hope in our humanity, which is falling like sand from between our fingers.
Thank you, Wissam. Thank you for playing from your heart. We feel the power that music can really shed a bit of light in the world and our shared humanity. I've found that by being a harpist, I've been able to share music and culture and cross borders. Our next artist, Alfredo Rolando Ortiz, is an old friend and colleague of mine that I first met at a harp conference in the United States and had the great privilege of inviting Alfredo to perform at the Israeli Harp Festival. And we toured him around. He was able to perform in Bethlehem, and his music has also crossed borders and boundaries and touched the hearts of people around this planet.
I so enjoyed Alfredo coming to visit us here. He is a force of nature in so many ways. He travels the world with his harp. He's everywhere. He's done dozens of recordings. He's published arrangements of his music. And he's so passionate about music and about humanistic ideals. So when he came to Israel and Palestine and we toured him around, it was really touching to see his responses to the people he met and the things he saw. And it's just so wonderful to have him here on our program tonight. So please welcome Alfredo Rolando Ortiz.
My name is Alfredo Rolando Ortiz. In 2014, my wife and I had the privilege of touring the Holy Land thanks to Green Olive Tours, visiting Jewish communities, Palestinian communities, even having the honor of performing a concert in Bethlehem during Christmas time, as well as a concert with symphony in Israel, and many other performances, and visiting and seeing the reality. Green Olive Tours actually had Arabs and Jews, Palestinians and Israelis working together, Christians also working together, something that is possible. We just need peace. We need peace, and we need fair treatment also for the Palestinian people. Here is some music in hopes of peace for the future of all our children.
Thank you, Alfredo. That was an amazing performance. And I learned something after you sent me the title of that. Milonga is a dance style, and milonga, para amor, for my love or for loving. Google Translate was not too clear on that, but it's a wonderful title and beautiful music. Thank you so much. Now, the next performer is my dear wife and partner in life, Sunita. She travels the world with her harp. She's a harpist. She teaches, she does workshops. In a couple of months, she'll be at the Edinburgh Harp Festival as a featured performer and teacher. She's been part of my life for the last, almost 40 years.
We met in Jerusalem.
We did. In 1985, I believe it was. We were engaged 3 months later and married within the year. So true love does happen. Please remember that. Even in the midst of this madness that's going on in this country right now, there's always that hope. Eventually, we all have to live here together. Whether it's one country or two countries or a federation, in so many ways, I personally don't care. So long as we all have equal rights, equal political rights, and all our human rights are respected. But first, this awful, awful war has got to stop. Begun by the devastating events on October 7th and continuing all these months. We're into March now. The war has to cease. And so to help with that, we're asking you to help sustain the Green Olive Collective. You know, usually we earn most of our money as a social enterprise with tours. Many of you have been on our tours, day tours, package tours, solidarity missions, olive picking. There's so many different types of programs that we have, and we charge fair prices, and we show everybody a good time. It's very educational, and it helps sustain the work that we do that doesn't earn money, our advocacy work. Well, of course, since October, there has been no tours. So we've had no real income apart from our membership dues and contributions from people like you who like our work, who are part of our work, and want to help keep us going until such times as we can generate our own income again from tours. But next is the harp. And so I give you Sunita Stanislaw, harpist extraordinaire.
The harp is connected to King David, and King David with the Psalms. The Psalms are ancient wisdom that is still relevant today. This is a melody based on Psalm 34, verses 12 through 14. Mi Ha'ish, the melody composed by Rabbi Haidt. It's a heart-wrenching melody about, I'll paraphrase the verses, seeking life, to turn away from lies, from speaking evil, to seek peace and pursue it. And peace doesn't just happen. It's not just a ceasefire. It is something we must pursue. And these are ancient words. Mi Ha'ish. I didn't warm up with it. Let me just practice it.
Okay. Okay, Mi Ha'ish, take 3. Wow. Thank you, Sunita. That was beautiful. You know, Sunita and I have had a lot of adventures with her harp. She has several. She used to have one of those enormous 6-foot, 2-meter high harps that they use in the big orchestras. And shortly after we first met in Jerusalem, I managed to persuade Sunita to bring her huge harp out onto the main walking street of West Jerusalem, called Ben Yehuda, to go busking, to go street performing, because while she was studying harp, she was working in a restaurant, making, I don't know, $1 an hour or something. And so we dragged her harp out to the street, and she hasn't looked back ever since. She built a professional career, and we've had some good times with the harp, including putting one of her harps on a trailer and towing it behind a tandem bicycle around Europe for 5 months. That was in 2015. That was quite an adventure. The next musician is an amazing man, Danny Dworsky. Danny and I first met in the early days of the Second Intifada. Both of us were on-the-ground activists. We went out into the West Bank with an Israeli organization, an Arab-Jewish group called Tayyush, and the purpose was to take food to besieged villages, because the IDF had placed huge mounds of earth, which they're doing till this day, in front of the access roads to Palestinian villages, so no vehicle could go in or out. And they restricted the access of people also. So we would go in groups, busloads of us from Israel, after canvassing shops often and raising money. We would bring sacks of flour and bags of sugar and rice and just basic staples. So I met Danny hauling a bag of rice on our shoulders over these earthen berms or mounds with IDF soldiers' guns at the ready on either side of us. Now Danny was, even at that time, he was a very accomplished musician, a jazz performer, going back and forth between Israel and the United States. He's written music, he's composed, and I believe he's still performing to this day with his jazz ensemble up in the Haifa area. So, and Sunita knows him very well also. The Dworsky family are very good friends of ours.
And I've recorded 2 albums in Danny's studio. So thank you, Danny, for having the brilliant studio and such good ears, and just, you know, he's really profoundly a good human being.
And listen carefully to the words of this song. It's very profound, in my opinion. And while you're listening to it, don't forget, we're here to raise money from you. So take note of the internet URL, the address, and please go and help Green Olive sustain itself for the coming year. Thank you. And here's Danny Dworsky.
I'm Danny Dworsky. This song is called Stubborn Naivety, which is basically the only way we're going to get through this. It's sort of like fake it till you make it, because killing each other's children is not an option. Nothing's gonna change around here till we can get back up and make a new start. Let the world unfold before you. Let the sadness from your heart. People think one way or another, they do or don't do all that should be done. But love is still the greatest of powers. It's stronger than the last of the guns. Let no one tell you this is stubborn naivety. Shame on you.
Daniel Dworsky, thank you. I have really enjoyed over the years when I meet people to find the different layers of connections, and I have deep connection with Danny because his cousin studied Hindi with my father at the University of Minnesota. Danny has Minnesota connections where was raised, where I'm from, and just this idea that we are so interconnected, even if we meet somewhere far from where we're born. The world is so interconnected, and I'm reminded of that beauty when I see you, Danny. So thank you. And I met Wissam because of Danny and Zohar, his wife. And Wissam, I think I saw him first on stage, and after winning some amazing award that I can't think of now, but Wissam is just a world-class musician, and it's been my honor and privilege to have been able to be in a few performances with him and toss around this idea of how music can go beyond borders and is entwined with us as humans. So this next piece I'll share with you is a Shetland fiddle tune that I actually learned from a friend and colleague, Kim Robertson. So it's based on her arrangement I learned of this fiddle tune, and then mixed improvisation with oud, and well, then it can be magic when you combine music from different parts of the world. So here's a snippet of a concert from our kitchen in Jaffa, but I also performed with Wissam in his town of Nazareth.
Yeah. The venue was amazing for this because we used to do a lot of house concerts, and trying to pack people into a relatively small house can be a challenge at times. So we have our kitchen that's kind of at the point of an L shape. On one side is Sunita's harp room, on the other side is our living room, our salon. So we decided to get as many people in as possible. We turned the kitchen into a stage setting.
Yes.
We draped sheets over bits of the kitchen to kind of hide the sink and everything. And but it worked. It worked. The audience absolutely loved the music, and I think you will too.
Our dog did it will make a cameo appearance.
The North Pole.
Thank you, Sunita and Wissam. That was truly a really, really beautiful piece of music. And I do hope that all of you in the audience, and the audience has been growing actually as this event unfolds, which is really good to see. So those of you who just recently arrived, I welcome you. And please note that the URL, the web address for contributions pops up on the screen here and there. So our purpose here today is to, yes, entertain you a little bit, to express solidarity for those who are being oppressed and indeed killed in war in Gaza, all the horrors of war. And we're trying to sustain our organization through asking you for contributions, because our primary source of income, our tours, is on pause, as you can imagine. I thank all of you who have been contributing since the beginning of the concert, and encourage all of you to keep doing so. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to introduce a friend and colleague, Park Stickney, a jazz harpist, which people think, what, jazz and harp? But he is absolutely brilliant and has really helped burst the bubble of what we think of as harp music. And he also travels the world and I think creates bridges between cultures. And I invited Park to the very first Israel Harp Festival, and he wanted to not only play in Israel, but also work with Palestinians. And this had this enormous ripple effect for me, because he worked with kids in a school of music in a small town near Nablus. And our translator was this beautiful woman who was blind and fell in love with the harp, the sound of the harp. It sounded like the sea to her. And so I said, oh, if you ever play the harp, I'll teach you, thinking, how would this ever happen? And Fred said, look, there's a whole network of harpists in the world who would be pleased to be part of this idea of getting a harp for her. And so it was within months.
Yeah, we conducted a fundraiser. We sent an email to all of Sunita's fans, about half of whom are harpists, and a lot of them I know are in the audience here today. And it was truly amazing. Money came in, and then finally a Palestinian gentleman who lives in London donated enough money in one contribution to buy the harp. And so there was surplus funds. We bought the harp, we took it out to Yasmin, and then the rest of the money was used for transportation costs and other costs involved.
Strings, case,
strings, and so on, yeah.
So I was able to teach, and then for me to drive an hour deep into a neighborhood that I never would be going alone by car, and being treated with such respect by her family as a teacher, really, for me, it was very, very profound, deeply. The harp has helped me cross cultural borders and made me realize that all we do need to do is take that step, just like with Green Olive, go and listen to somebody's opinion that maybe you already had preconceptions of, or you just didn't know, to take that next step. And so thank you, Park. It's because of you that I was able to take this step, and then it changed also Yasmin's life. And this ripple effect has continued. So let's listen now to the beautiful playing of Park Stickney.
Hi, my name is Park Stickney. I'm a harpist living mostly in Switzerland. And I'm honored to be part of this concert to support Green Olive. I took a trip with them and worked with some Oud students in Nablus in Palestine some years ago. And it was really an incredible experience. These young guys just wanting to share their music with a harpist, with a crazy harpist. And actually in this trip, one of the amazing things was meeting a young woman named Yasmin, who's blind, and who decided to play the harp. And so Sunita Stanislav is working with her, or has been working with her, teaching her this instrument. Anyway, I think that communication is a lot more of, and it seems to me that Green Olive is doing exactly that. And music is also part of this communication. So I'll play a piece because it's a concert.
Thank you, Park. It was a great selection. I think one of the reasons we're caught in these dark days of war is due to our lack of imagination, our lack of imagining peace and what a just peace could be. And thank you, all of you, for joining us in this concert where we are imagining something much better in the future. Thank you.
Yes, that was a great performance by Park, great improvisation. You know, the amazing thing is he makes it seem so easy. He makes it seem so easy, and yet being around a harpist for decades, I know how hard that music is to play and to learn, to refine. So thank you, Park. Our final act today is a family performance, at least in part. My niece, Sarah Hunter, and their two sons, Seth and Caleb, are performing One Day. Now, this piece of music, Sarah will explain it to you, but it was also performed by choirs around the world for International Day of Peace. And Sarah is a choir director, so we're going to see a clip of some of her choir performance. And yes, Sarah's my sister's daughter. My sister lives near Edinburgh. And my family arrived there actually from the British Mandate of Palestine in 1948. We left on one of the last boats out of here, out of Haifa, in May of 1948. My mother's family's been living here for 200 years or more. My dad was a refugee from Nazi Germany who came here in the 1930s. And I was born and raised in Scotland, but I started coming back here in the late 1970s. I spent about half of my life here. And recently I've started spending a bit more time in Scotland, so I get to see my sister, I get to see my niece, and this final piece of music is just inspiring. What can I say? It's our final piece, so thank you all for coming. Thank you for all your contributions, and please keep contributing. And hopefully many of you will be in touch, or you'll become members of our organization, and hopefully we'll see you here in the country, on the ground at some point.
Yes, please do come and visit us here.
Thank you and goodbye.
Thank you.
Sarah Hunter and family and choir is next.
Hi there, my name is Sarah Hunter, and this is a song called One Day, which I absolutely love. It's written by a Jewish American artist called Mattis Yahu. I'm a choir leader in London in the UK, and I've been teaching this song to various choirs and singing groups over the past 5 years or so, including teaching it to many children in primary schools across the city, helping them to just realise how privileged they are to live in a peaceful country. So my hope is that one day there'll be no more war and our children will play.
Sometimes I lay under the moon and thank God I'm
up with it. Let me just practice it.
Okay. Okay, Miha Ish, take 3.